Inshallah, this is going to be a Q&A session. As'ilatun wa ajwiba. Open session. If you have any question, feel free to put it in the comments, inshallah. I'm going to start in just a few seconds, but in the meantime, please go ahead and put your question. If you have any question, inshallah, try to answer. That's a Q&A session. Put your questions in the comments below, and I will get to that, inshallah. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, Brother Abdul Samad. That is Brother Abu Bakr is asking a question. When will my wife start to pray after giving birth? I'll get to that in just a second. Just making sure that the live stream is going to all the pages right here. So please go ahead and put your questions in the comments. I'll get to all of these in just a second, inshallah, tabarak wa ta'ala. Let me also share this. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Share. Again, this is a question and answer session. Go ahead and put your questions, Islamic questions, inshallah. And I will get to these in the next few minutes, inshallah, tabarak wa ta'ala, as much as I can. May Allah bless you. May Allah gather us all in the Jannah. Allahumma ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. One more thing I'm doing here. Should be good to go. Okay. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. We always start by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sending the best of peace and blessings to the soul of our Prophet Muhammad, the messenger of Allah, and everybody who follows in the righteous path until the day of judgment. Allahumma ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Welcome to a new Q&A session, question and answer session. If you have any question, please feel free to put that in the comments below right now as you're watching us live, inshallah. That is the chance to get your questions answered, inshallah. So the first question I got is from Brother Abu Bakr, and the question is about nifas, or the type of blood that the woman has after birth bleeding. During that period, the woman cannot pray. The woman is not supposed to touch the Quran. The husband-wife relationship is not supposed to happen, the intimacy or intercourse in specific, amongst a few other things. So the question is about when will the woman start to get back to regular again? It's by either one of two things. By the blood stopping completely, and if it is tested by a cotton or by anything to be put in the place and it's coming out with no blood whatsoever, and it continues like this for a little bit, then even if this happens after 10 days or 5 days or 20 days, then the woman is clear and she can come back to regular by praying and everything, after she makes sure that the blood stops. How to make sure? They know the ways to test that. There's no more bleeding. And it can be tested, so there's no more bleeding. That means it's the end of that blood. That is the first sign. If the bleeding continues, even though it's very little, even though it's drops, when it's tested by a cotton, to be inserted or something, still there is some color in there, then that means it's bleeding. The woman would continue to abstain from praying or doing any of the other things. That means the bleeding continues. Maximum, according to majority of scholars, is 40 days, 40 days. 40 days, 40 يوما. If she got to the 40th day, then that means it's the end of it. Even if there's still a few bleeding, that bleeding after that will be considered as istihada. Istihada means the woman can continue to pray and fast and do regular things, and even have the husband-wife intercourse and relationship. But in this case, if the bleeding continues after the 40 days, she has to wash herself, make wudu for each salah and wash the area itself. Obviously, after the 40th day or after the end of the bleeding, the woman is supposed to take a shower at the end, marking the end of the bleeding period, and continuing and starting coming back to normal. She can pray, she can fast, she can have the regular life as usual. I hope this is clear, inshallah tabarak wa ta'ala. I hope that is clear, inshallah. Another question, and again, this is a question and answer session, أسئلة وأجوبة. If you have any question, please feel free to put it in the comments, and I will get to that, inshallah tabarak wa ta'ala, right away. I have another question from Brother Abdul Samad, Sheikh Abdul Samad. The question is about the 10 days of the Hijjah are the best 10 days of the year. Any comparison with Laylatul Qadr or the odd nights of Ramadan? Very good question. We are receiving this coming Wednesday, inshallah. This coming Wednesday. Thank you, Brother Abu Bakr. If you have any other question, feel free to put it, inshallah. But now we are talking about those who are watching us on YouTube. Also, you can put your questions there. This topic or this question is about the first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah, the last month in the Islamic lunar calendar, which is coming, inshallah. We're receiving the month of Dhul Hijjah in just a few days. This coming Wednesday, inshallah, we will be receiving the month of Dhul Hijjah. And those 10 days of Dhul Hijjah are the best 10 days ever throughout the year. The days of the first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah are the best 10 days. The nights, as far as the nights of the last 10 nights of Ramadan, those are the best nights all over the year. So the days, as far as those coming 10 days of the Hijjah are the best. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ said, ما العمل في أيام خير وأحب إلى الله من العمل الصالح في هذه الأيام يعني أيام العشر. There's no deeds, good deeds to be done that's more dear and beloved to Allah than actions to be done on those 10 days. The first 10 days of the Hijjah, which is from this coming Wednesday, July, I think the 22nd, until the day of Eid, inshallah. Those are the best 10 days. The action on these days, there's no action in any other time that's more beloved to Allah and more dear to Allah than the actions on those 10 days, inshallah. The comparison, like I said, there's no comparison. The days of the first 10 days of the Hijjah are the best year round. The nights and the last 10 nights of Ramadan are the best. So we are talking about two different things in here. Allah swears by those 10 days, the first 10 days of the Hijjah, according to the Mufassirun, wal-Fajr wa layalin ashr, it refers to those 10 days of the Hijjah. You can fast on these days. Remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say a lot of takbir, a lot of dhikr, and things like that. This is the best you can do in these days. Obviously, get ready for Eid, prepare your udhiyah if you're thinking to sacrifice. Some scholars, even if you can, said if you can afford it, you have to do it. If you intend to make udhiyah, you don't take from your nails, you don't take from your hair, as a sunnah according to the hadith narrated by Salama. Again, this is an open session, question and answer. Give us your question, put your questions in the comments, inshallah tabarak wa ta'ala. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. As far as those 10 days, we don't want to miss the day of Arafah in specific. The day of Arafah is very, very important. Jazakallah khair, Brother Abdul Samad. May Allah bless you, give you the best, akhi. The day of Arafah, which is going to be July the 30th. This, it's so special. The best dua all year round, the best dua ever is to say is in the day of Arafah. That's the best day to make dua. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, وَخَيْرُ مَا قُلْتُ أَنَا وَالنَّبِيُّونَ مِنْ قَبْلِي, and the best ever of what I say and those prophets before me ever say is La ilaha illallah, there is no God except Allah, وحده لا شريك له, alone with no partners, له الملك وله الحمد, to him belongs the kingdom and the praise, وهو على كل شيء قدير, and he over everything is capable. That is the best dua. Any kind of dua to be said on that day, it is the best day to make dua. Inshallah will be accepted. This is the day that Allah frees from the fire of hell many, many people, more than any other day, which is the day of Arafah, the day of Arafah, which is going to be July the 30th, inshallah, most likely. Question and answer. If you have any question, feel free to put it, inshallah. This session is meant for that. اللهم صل على عبدك ورسولك سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. إياك. Again, for those who just joined us, this is a question and answer session. It all depends on the questions that you may have. So if you have any question, feel free to put it in the comments, inshallah. What is an acceptable distance for you to be considered a traveler? That's a good question, Brother Abdul Samad. Jazakallah khair for interacting and asking questions. The distance of qasr, or the distance of you being considered as a traveler, according to majority of scholars, is by our today's measurements, around 83 kilometers, which is around 50 miles. 48 miles to be specific, we can round it up and say 50 miles. So if you are traveling for 50 miles, which is around 83 kilometers or more, then you are considered a traveler. And there are so many rules and rulings that will be that will apply in this case. Ahkam al-safar, rules of traveling. If it is Ramadan, you may break your fasting. You have the concession if you're traveling to break your fasting, and you have to make up for those missed days later on. If you are traveling also for that distance or more, the distance of 50 miles or more, which is 83, 84 kilometers or more, then you can also, or you may also shorten and combine the prayers. You shorten the 4 rak'ah prayers, namely Dhuhr, Asr, and Isha. Those prayers you shorten, instead of 4 rak'ah, you make them 2 rak'ah instead. And you may also combine Dhuhr with Asr in either time, in the time of either one of them, Dhuhr or Asr. So you take Asr, pray with Dhuhr early, or you delay Asr to pray Dhuhr, to pray with Asr late. You have this option too. Same thing with Maghrib and Isha. You may pray Maghrib along with Isha, or Isha along with Maghrib in either time or in time of either one of them. Only Isha will be shortened, but Maghrib cannot be shortened. The prayers to be shortened are Dhuhr, 4 rak'ah, 2 instead of 4, Asr, 2 rak'ah instead of 4, and Isha, 2 instead of 4. These rules and more would apply for you when you are traveling for 50 miles or more. When to apply this? You don't apply this when you hit the 50 miles. When you get to the 50 miles or 83 kilometers, you start doing that from the time you leave the borders of your city or town. From the time you leave your town, as long as you are intending to travel for 50 miles or more, you start using the concessions of traveling. You cannot, according to majority of scholars, you cannot start using these concessions from the city you are living in or the town you are living in, because you are not considered a traveler yet. You are still muqim, you are still resident, and this is for musafir, for somebody who's traveling. You can start shortening and combining the prayer, break your fast, all the other concessions that are given to you, you can start, or you may start using these right after you leave the borders of your city or town that you live in, even if you did not make it to the 50 miles yet, or to the 80 miles, 83 kilometers yet, as long as you're just intending to go that far. I hope it's clear, inshallah. Also, how far can I continue to use these concessions? I'm traveling, I'm going over 50 miles, I'm going to be considered a traveler. How long? If I stay there for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, a year, 2 years, how long can I continue to use the concessions of traveling like that? The answer is, according to the majority of scholars, or many of the scholars, it's 4 days. 4 days. If you're going to be there for 4 days or less, 4 days in the destination, it's above 50 miles or more. You're going to stay for 4 days or less, you can use the concession all through the time, for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, or 4 days. Once you pass the 4 days, then you are considered, if you know from the beginning you are staying 5 days, for example, then nothing applies to you. What applies to you as far as the concessions is only when you are on the way, you can use these concessions. But once you reach your destination and you know that you are going to be there for more than 4 days, like 5 days or more, then you are considered muqim or resident from day one. You cannot use any of these concessions. But if you know that you are going to stay for 4 days or less, you can use that for the whole time. That is the opinion of the majority of scholars. Imam Abu Hanifa will take it up to 15 days. Imam Abdullah ibn Abbas will go to 19 or 20 days. But the majority of scholars, like I said, ahkam al-safar, or the rules of traveling, would apply only for 4 days. If you are going to reach a destination and stay there for 4 days or less, more than 4 days, you're considered muqim or resident, and many of these rules, or all these rules, would not apply to you. In all cases, as long as you're traveling on the way itself, all of these rules or concessions and rukhas would apply to you. You can shorten and combine the prayers. You may also break your fasting if you choose to. Again, this is an open session, question and answer. If you have any question, feel free to put it in the comments. Inshallah, I'll get to it right away. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. وإياكم, Brother Abdul Samad. Do you have any other questions? Keep us going. يا ربي لك الحمد على كل حال. Should you combine? Brother Abdul Samad. Do you have any other questions? Keep us going. Bismillah. يا ربي لك الحمد. Okay. So, should you combine Asr with Dhuhr if you feel you can get home before Maghrib, but could be cutting close to Maghrib? Yes, as long as you are traveling and you got to the time of any of these prayers, you can use this concession. Even if you end up your travel earlier, that should be fine. Because when this become obligatory on you, or when you were giving this concession, you are capable of using this concession, and you're using it for a valid reason, you can use it. And if you use it and pray Dhuhr and Asr, you have done the obligation. It's only one time on you to pray that prayer. You're not supposed to pray it again, even if you become muqim or you become resident. If you know you're going to get home before Maghrib, there's no problem of praying and using the concession and praying while traveling. There is no problem, inshallah, in that, because it's a concession or rukhsa from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to you, that if you decide to use it, alhamdulillah, you use a concession that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. There's nothing wrong with that, inshallah, even if you come home before Maghrib or so. You don't have to pray Asr again. Wallahu a'lam. Brother Muhsin Kamal, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If you have any question, feel free to put it, inshallah. This is a free open session, question and answer, inshallah. It's very good to see you all, mashallah, may Allah bless you. But it would be better if you have any question to share it right now. I receive a lot of questions on the email and messages and what have you. And sometimes not as many questions come when we're live, but that's okay too. If anybody joins us right now, feel free, inshallah, to put your questions. Even if you're watching this later after the live, you can leave your question also, and I will try to get to it, inshallah. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Brother Muhsin, he said, if I cannot do sacrifice at present, can I send the money for that reason as sadaqah? If you are capable of doing the udhiyah, anybody is capable of sacrificing and doing the udhiyah or qurbani. Many scholars said it's obligatory. Even though majority would believe it's sunnah or highly recommended sunnah, but some really have their strong opinion to evidence to support their view that it's obligatory. من وجد ساعة فلم يضحي فلا يقربن مصلانا. The Prophet said the very strong hadith. He said those who can afford to sacrifice and they do not do the udhiyah or qurbani or sacrifice, let them not pray with us Eid. That's like, scholars said if that is the case, that means it's obligatory. But many others said it's not, it's sunnah mu'akkada. In any case, if you can afford to do it, if anybody of those who are watching can afford to do the udhiyah, please do the udhiyah. It's the ritual that's meant. It's not only the meat. Some of us think it's the meat. Go buy the meat and it's okay. No, it's not about the meat. Meat is good, but it's about the ritual and sacrifice itself. It's also the best, if you can slaughter yourself, is to do it. Follow the guidelines and instructions and what have you. But if you can do it yourself, do it as a ritual. If you cannot do it, then at least see it, watch it as a sacrifice is being done for you on your behalf. That is one of the rituals. See it and watch it. This is the best thing to be done on the day of Eid, which is Nahar, or the sacrifice itself. What if I cannot? It's not possible. I don't know anybody close to me. Can I send it? Like you're saying, yes, you can, inshallah. You can get it done on your behalf, not in sadaqah, but you can. What you can is you can get some people do it on your behalf elsewhere. There are many relief organizations. There are many organizations out there that can do the sacrifice or qurbani or udhiyah on your behalf. You can pay online or find one of these programs and you can get it done on your behalf. Always the best is to do it yourself or see it or get it done for you in front of you. But if you cannot, then you can always send to one of these programs and they can get it done for you, inshallah. Send them money and it can be done for you, inshallah. And as far as udhiyah, 7 people can get together in a camel or in a cow. In a cow or a camel, 7 people can participate because it has 7 shares in that. But if you decide to go a smaller sheep or goat, then it's good for one family, one person. When I said 7 shares, 1 share is good for one family, for one person. And because you're supposed to do it as the head of the household, you're supposed to do it on behalf of your whole family. Brother Abdul Samad here, I know him. He's working with Helping Hand USA, and he said they are offering sacrifice in over 60 plus countries. This is one more trustworthy person and organization that you can get it done through them on your behalf, inshallah. If you have any question, if you just join us, this is an open session, question and answer, Q&A. If you have any question, I'll be happy to try to answer, inshallah, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. وإياك, Brother Muhsin. Jazakallah khair. May Allah bless you. Any more questions? I give you guys a couple of more seconds. This is an open session, question and answer. If you have any question, feel free to put it and I'll get to it, inshallah. Brother Abdul Samad, he just put the link for the Qurbani that they do in there. If anybody wants to get it done on your behalf, you may use this global Qurbani program, inshallah. But like I said, the best, if you are able to get it done for you, or if you can do it yourself somehow, you may do that. If you cannot, you can get it done for you. Hopefully you can see it or watch it. If you cannot, then you can always use any of these programs out there, inshallah, for Udhiyah. This is Brother Abdul Samad Sheikh. Is this a good time to ask about CBD oils and other recreational and medicinal products? Yes, why not? But I don't know what CBD oils. You can go ahead and explain to me, Brother Abdul Samad, what do you mean by CBD oils? It will be, I would need to understand what exactly are you asking about. Sister Samah is asking, wa alaikum assalam, can I sacrifice in Egypt? Yes, you can, inshallah. Like I said, if you have a farm near you or something and you can go and do it yourself, that will be the best. If you cannot, or it's difficult, or you don't have this for whatever reason, you can always do it in any country. It can be done on your behalf, inshallah, tabarak wa ta'ala. But again, some people think it's about meat. Like I give in sadaqah, or I buy some meat and I give it to the poor. It is not only, even though part of it, after you get the ritual done to give sadaqah, give some of the meat in sadaqah, but it's not mainly sadaqah now. It is the ritual itself, the action of sacrifice for the sake of Allah on your name or on behalf of you. The Prophet ﷺ used to do it. ضحى بكبشين أملحين أقرنين. He got two huge rams with horns, big horns, and he slaughtered them or sacrificed them. He said, one for me and my family, on my behalf and my families, and one on behalf of my ummah, or those who cannot do it of my ummah. So the udhiyah, or the ritual itself, is the most important thing excuse me, that you need to get to it. Yes, inshallah, Brother Abdul Samad, no problem. We can talk about this if you prefer so. Are there any special du'as we can make within the 10 days? The best dhikr that you can say all through is takbir and tahleel. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, wa lillahi alhamd. So any form of takbir, that is just recommended. But you may say any form of dua, especially around that meaning, the glorification of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the praising of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all through these days. In the day of Arafah, the formula, the dua, the best dua, as mentioned in the hadith, is La ilaha illallah, wahdahu la sharika lah, lahul mulk wa lahul hamd, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. One more time, La ilaha illallah, there is no God except Allah, wahdahu la sharika lah, alone with no partners, lahul mulk, all the kingdom belong to him, wa lahul hamd, and all the hamd or praise belong to him, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir, and he over everything is capable. He is capable of everything. That is the best dua, as the Prophet ﷺ recommended us to say, especially in the day of Arafah, which is going to be July the 30th, the day right before Eid, inshallah. وَيَذْكُرُ اسْمَ اللَّهِ فِي أَيَّامٍ مَعْلُومَاتٍ. Allah said in the Quran, and such they remember the name of Allah on those known days. Mention and remember the name of Allah. Any remembrance in the name of Allah, on these days should be good, inshallah. Brother Samim, Hoshang, I need your opinion about sanitizer, which contains 70% alcohol before salah. Good question. That comes to the point. وإياك. Salam Senator, I guess probably this is Brother Rashid. Jazakallah khair wa iyyak, Brother Rashid. So to the question of Brother Sameem, it goes back to the alcohol. Is it considered? We know it's illegal to consume in terms of swallowing it, or wine, or alcohol in general. But is it najis or not najis? Is it haram to consume, and in the meantime it's impure or not? Scholars disagree. Imam Shafi'i and others, they believe it is impure as well. It is haram to consume, like wine is haram to consume, and if you pour it in your body, you have to wash it. It's impure. It's not like water. It's not like tea or juice, like any other juice. He believes that it is najis, or it is impure, and it should not be used in the clothes or in the body. It should be washed because it is najis. Other imams, they say no, it's not najis, and they would say even the najasa, even though some of them who say najasa, it is okay as far as 1/4 of the cloth. It can be allowed. Anyways, each group, they quoted their evidence. There is a strong evidence for Imam Abu Hanifa and others. They said, as we all know, al-khamr, or alcohol, did not become haram like many other haram things. They did not become haram or illegal or impermissible all of a sudden at once. There was graduation. There was some level of going gradually. Right? So what happened is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the beginning, He said, وَمِن ثَمَرَاتِ النَّخِيلِ تَتَّخِذُونَ مِنْهُ سَكَرًا وَرِزْقًا حَسَنًا. From the fruits of the palm trees, you take sakaran, you take alcohol, something to make you drunk, and also rizqan hasana, and good provision. You make good things and you make not as good things. He doesn't say whether it's okay or not okay to do it, but he said that's what you do. Another ayah, then he said, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْخَمْرِ وَالْمَيْسِرِ قُلْ فِيهِمَا إِثْمٌ كَبِيرٌ وَمَنَافِعُ لِلنَّاسِ. He said, they ask you concerning alcohol and gambling, say they have so many sins in them and they have some benefit also. He did not also say that was another level. And then concerning the alcohol, Allah said, and the next level, third level, He said, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا لَا تَقْرَبُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَأَنْتُمْ سُكَارَى. O you who believe, do not come close to salah, do not make salah or pray while being drunk. So He made it illegal or impermissible to consume around salah time. So you will be sober. You have to be sober during salah. Then the final ayah came in Surah Al-Ma'idah. Allah Azza Jalla said, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, O you who believe, إِنَّمَا الْخَمْرُ, indeed wine or alcohol, وَالْمَيْسِرُ وَالْأَنصَابُ وَالْأَزْلَامُ, and He mentioned gambling and amongst other forms of illegal things, and He said, رِجْسٌ مِّنْ عَمَلِ الشَّيْطَانِ. All of them are rijs, all of them are impure from the action of shaitan, so avoid it totally. When this ayah was revealed, and by the way, Imam Shafi'i said rijs is another word for impure. He said, Allah said impure. If it is impure, that means we have to deal with it as impure, not only metaphorically, or not only as a meaning, abstract kind of impure, but physically, because this is one of the meanings of that term, or linguistic meanings of that term. It's impure, so it's impure physically and otherwise. But anyways, Imam Abu Hanifa said, when this ayah was revealed, what happened is Muslims, like at this time, or Arabs in general at this time, they drink wine. It's in every house. In every house they have alcohol. It's just like water. They used to have big and huge containers of khamr and wine and alcohol in their houses. When this ayah was revealed, years and years, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making it gradually, making them don't like it, and also waiting until their faith is very strong. Now they are ready to receive this. They got it. He said, Anas ibn Malik, the narrator of the hadith, he said, Wallahi, I remember that day, we went out to Salatul Asr, to Asr prayer in the masjid, and all the streets of Medina were muddy. because of wine. Everybody got the wine they have and they pour it in the streets of Medina, so much so that we were collecting our clothes. They were like kind of collecting our clothes and trying to avoid the mud. His logic behind it not being impure, he said, if it is impure, the Prophet ﷺ would not order them to pour it, or they would not pour it in Medina like that. Even though, anyway, in any case, that's his view. When it comes to sanitizing now, this is something. Well, if you want to avoid it and you want to use something else as a sanitizer that doesn't include alcohol, that's actually going to be the best. But in cases like that, because it's disagreed on, and also it is something that's needed right now for sanitization and killing the virus, then it may be okay, inshallah, or it should be okay. And also, many of the modern scholars, they argue that actually alcohol, which is found, the element of it that's found in the sprays that we use and the sanitizers and what have you, is not the same. This is the ethanol. The one that's found in the wine, I guess it's the methanol. The one that's found in the spray is the ethanol. The ethanol is another form of alcohol, but it's not to be, if it's not to drink, because if you drink, it's not going to make you drunk, it's going to kill you. So they argue that it's totally different component. It has totally different components, even though they are very, very similar in terms of the molecules and the combination of them, like, you know, those CH, we used to study them back. They have some specific number of carbon molecules or atoms, or not atoms, I believe. Anyways, they are very, very similar as far as the combination, but they are also not 100% different, because alcohol or ethanol, if you drink it, it's going to kill you. They argue that it's totally something else. So if you are okay using it, that's fine. I also heard from some physicians, one physician to be specific, he was arguing against using sanitizers. I don't want to get there. It's not my arena. I'm just relaying what I heard from a physician that I know. He said it kills everything. It's not going to kill only the virus. It kills all the good bacteria and everything, which would leave you, after you use it, it would leave your hand kind of plain. Any virus or any bacteria, bad thing, would be easy for it to attack, because when you use the sanitizer, that's his argument. He said it's going to kill everything. It's like you're bombing everything in this area, good and bad. Yes, you're getting rid of the bad virus if it's there, but you're also getting rid of the good ones as well. He was just arguing, this doctor, this physician, he was saying that it's always the best to use just water and any kind of hand wash or something, any water and soap, rather than using the alcohol. If we have any physicians who might give us more details here, that would be good. But in any case, if you think you need it, to answer your question, if you need it and you think it's necessary for you, or you're advised to use it, there's no problem, inshallah, of using it. If you don't feel comfortable, خلاص, don't use it. Wallahu a'lam. I just mentioned the disagreement about it. طيب, if I get to another question. Brother Khalid, he's asking, are there any benefits to not pray al-witr until before Fajr? Yes. Delaying the witr until the last portion of the night right before Fajr, which is called the time of as-sahar, is actually more virtuous and more rewarding, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gets at the last third of the night as close as possible to his people, to as-sama' ad-dunya, the first heaven or the first sky, in a way that fits his majesty. And he says, is there anyone who has anything, and I give it to him? Any person to ask anything, I give it to him. Anyone to ask forgiveness, I forgive him, and so on until the dawn breaks. So it's always the best to keep it until the end of the night, but you can pray it at any time from after you pray Isha all the way until before Fajr. If you feel that you're going to be lazy, you're not going to wake up in time, you're going to miss it, then the best is to pray it early before you sleep, and it will count, inshallah, and will be good. But if you are sure that you will wake up at the end of the night and you can do it, that's okay, inshallah. Brother Muhsin, I intend to do sacrifice through another agency. Does not cutting nail and hair applies in the first 10 days? Yes. If you intend to make udhiyah or sacrifice yourself or get it done on your behalf, in all of these cases, it's recommended for you to not cut your hair or clip your nails. As I mentioned, there is a hadith narrated by al-Mu'mineen Salama radiallahu anha to that effect, inshallah. Brother Muhsin, again, methanol is the toxic. Okay, maybe I reverse them. Methanol is the toxic one. Ethanol is the common alcohol used by the people commonly. Okay, I'm not an expert in this field, so it's probably it was mixed. But like I said, as I explained before, one of them has a methanol and it's a toxic, and they argue that the ruling doesn't apply to it. Wallahu a'lam. This is again an open session, question and answer. If anyone still got any question, feel free to put it in the comment section. And again, if you are watching this later after the live, you can still put the question there and I'll get to it inshallah later, or you can send it to me in a private message inshallah. Okay. I hope I'm not missing any question. All right. Anyone else got any question before we conclude, inshallah? اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله. Okay. Take one final look at the different pages in front of me. If there's no other question, we will conclude, inshallah. All right, so every day after Salatul Maghrib, around 8:45, we, Sacramento time, we go live, and every day from Monday through Friday. Friday is an open session. Friday is an open session, question and answer. If you have any question, feel free to log in and put your question, inshallah. The other days, you can check the schedule, sign up for our newsletter to receive the newsletter. Monday, we have Quran session. You can also join us on Zoom and read with us, inshallah. The link is always below the video or the live stream. And Tuesday, we have Aqidah classes or Islamic creed. Wednesday, we have fiqh. These days, we're talking about nikah or rulings of marriage. And Thursday, we have seerah or life of the Prophet ﷺ. And Friday, like I said, we have open session, question and answer. Thanks, I asked because responsible guys in Salam before entering the prayer area offer sanitizer. Yes, yeah. So that's, we're trying to take all the measurements to protect you and ourselves and the community, inshallah, at these tough times. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us all safe and healthy and deliver us safe from that, inshallah. Thank you, Brother Muhsin. And thank you, everybody who is watching. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wallahu ta'ala a'la wa a'lam. Allah knows best. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.